All right. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Coming off of Friday night, I know talked in post game, but obviously it's a disappointing outcome, and just a game where we did our opportunities. Did not play as clean of a game that is necessary to go win on the road. We had -4 in turnover margin. Missed the opportunity on a fourth down conversion offensively. It could, even when we moved the ball, which there were times we moved the ball really well throughout that game, was not able to capitalize with points on multiple drives, which a couple missed field goals, obviously the interception there going in, and at times just struggled just in operation, and that was something that is disappointing to see. It's in a game like that, it's you're gonna feel the back and forth, but you gotta take control of the momentum when you have it, and you got to be able to go finish drives. And coming out of the third quarter, I thought it was a bad sequence and set for us. Just we came out with a 3-and-out, had a penalty, put us behind, and then gave up. It was a 13, 15 play drive. That allowed points there in the to start the second half. We got to be better in those situations. And ultimately, our guys. I thought they battled. I thought they definitely pushed and competed. We had some unfortunate situations that showed up, there in the fourth quarter. But I thought, even just for the defense and their, mindset and approach, putting us in some challenging, places. They were definitely battling, and fortunately it wasn't good enough, for us, and we get the late touchdown, and just were not able to do what was necessary to go win that game. And for us, you come back, you like I said after the game, you have to own the issues, the mistakes, the missed opportunities. You got to own it, and you got to fix it, and that's I believe in the capabilities of what this team can do, and ultimately just got to go do it. And obviously this week is a huge week. Big game for us. Trying to push to go get your 6th win. Obviously in a rivalry game, going on the road. Everything that's surrounding this game. It's huge, and that's going to be every bit of our focus. As we came into work yesterday, I thought the guys, they understand that. They've got the right attitude, the right approach. I know they're continuing to invest and working to get better and pushing each other, challenging each other, picking each other up. In times when it's needed. But I am grateful for this team and what they're investing into each other. But at the end of the day, we still got to go get the job done, and that's our focus for this week. And definitely excited for the opportunity that we have in front of us.
Ira?
As you mentioned, you guys still have a lot to play for this season, but with the news yesterday and the topic of examining the program and evaluating changes that might need to be down the road, was that part of your guys' conversations in terms of agreeing on some of the same issues, or have you guys even got to that point of figuring out what you're going to do?
No, obviously I'm grateful for the administration, and their belief and myself, and what's ahead for us. And as I've mentioned throughout this year, I've got an elite level of confidence in where we're going and what we're going to be able to accomplish. And at the end of the day, you always are evaluating. When you're evaluating when it's good, you're evaluating when you see disappointing and experience disappointing results, and that's what we've done. And so there's a lot of things that we'll continue to take a broader scope you look at as we get into the off season after we get to through this year. But I'm evaluating throughout the course of the year, week to week. Obviously in every part of our program, just to be able to push it and to be able to take the proper steps for us to be the best that we can be. And like I said, we've had conversations, but this week all of our focus is on going to Gainesville and doing everything we can to go get our 6th win for the season.
Aslan?
Have you guys talked about, do you have plans to contribute to the Vision of Excellence campaign like you did this season for next year?
No.
If you guys stay at 5 wins for the regular season, would you be interested in going to a bowl game if that's an option for you guys as a 5-win team?
And our focus is on doing everything in our power to go get our 6th win.
Brendan?
I was gonna understand this is still probably being evaluated, but how much of the changes that were discussed in the release yesterday could go to the front office, and what role will you have in you know, I guess front office type of personnel hiring moving forward?
Well, I mean, you look at, anytime that you work through, a season, like I said, good, bad, indifferent, you want to evaluate all aspects of it, and, we're going to continue to do that, and, do everything in our power to make sure that Florida State is positioned to achieve elite level success, and, we'll get to that as the time comes, and, continue to push the program forward.
Chris?
Staying on the topic of front office, what has changed in the 6 years you've been here with regards to what is needed from that side of the aisle for you?
Well, I mean, just big picture. I mean, the world has changed of college athletics. I mean, it's not even close to, what it was. Transfer portal, NIL, rev share, and, all the dynamics that come with that. So, I mean, when you look at, what you have and, the structure, the setup, the different dynamics of, player acquisition, evaluation, availability, all of it is it's expanded beyond, anything you would have thought of 6 years ago. So, you look at, that's part of all things that you evaluate and say, man, are we structured, positioned to, to be the best that we can be, and in this new age, in this new world. And so, things that you look at, things that you evaluate, and then we'll continue to push towards that. As the season is over, and as we transition into what's ahead.
Liam?
A couple weeks ago, you told us that that elite level confidence, you will win championships here. And I know yesterday in the statement you talked about setting back to the championship standard. When you're measuring that and evaluating whether it's players, staff, personnel, or just the program as a whole, what is it that you look for, and what do you think that you need to bring in to kind of achieve that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got to be more consistent. I mean, we've shown flashes of being able to play at an elite level, but we've not been consistent enough, or we haven't played in a sense of complementary football, especially there on the road. Something that we've got to continue to improve upon. And we've got a young team, we've got some young players, we've got some guys that do have experience, but ultimately it's still about the application of that. And I don't think we're far off. I mean, there's been some things that have happened this year that we've earned the results of games, but we've also had some very unique dynamics that have contributed to that, and to some of the negative outcomes that we've had. And so I believe that we are close, and you lose 6 games, and it sucks. I mean, like I've said, we have absolutely not been close to the expectation of what I have for this team, for what I have, and for what I know is the overall expectation of Florida State football in general. But I do believe in where we're going. I do believe in some of the progress that we've been able to see, but it's not consistent enough. And even in games where there's it's not like in games that we haven't showed up. We've been able to gain yards. We've been able to hold teams to less. I mean, you go through all that, but it still ultimately comes down to making the plays in those critical situations, those clutch moments that are going to push you to having that success in the game. And like I said, we've done that against really good teams this year, and we've done it to where, multiple score wins over really, really good teams. But we've also put ourselves in position to have some production in the game, but not do the things that are necessary to go win the game. And that's where, big picture evaluation, all of us, we have to own that as coaches, as players, and making sure that the proper steps and the proper application, and sometimes just, going to make the play when you are in that moment, I think is huge. But I've seen the characteristics. I understand, like, when I watch this team and I watch how they play, that gives me a great deal of excitement for what's ahead, because I know that they are battling every single day throughout the situation. I mean, I pointed out to the team yesterday, one of the moments Friday night that we had just had the second punt, obviously situation where we turned the ball over, and as I'm walking over to the field where the defense are huddled, Daryl Jackson is running by me, encouraging, excited, trying to pump up his guys just to go make a stop, just to go get the ball back in that situation, not hanging his head, not sitting there, woe is us, look what's happened. It was an aggressive, encouraging response to a situation, and I showed that to the team yesterday. I said, and I told them, I go, man, I hate the result of what that game was, but I'm proud to coach this team. I'm proud to be around young men, leaders, people that believe so much that even in the worst of circumstance, that there's a belief and there's a buy-in, and they want to go do all they can to be able to make a difference. And when we give up a fourth down and touchdown there at the end, that a young player, the great learning experience, and talking to him today, I mean, just an opportunity for him to just get a little bit better in that situation. But there was still all belief, even through what was a disastrous fourth quarter with a couple of special teams plays for us. There's still an unbelievable sense of what we could do and how we could finish. Didn't get the job done, but when you have that belief, when you have that encouragement, when you have that just a mindset within a team, I mean, it gives me confidence for what's ahead, and we're going to build upon that. And ultimately, you got to go get the job done. But these players, I mean, they're putting everything they have into it.
Ira?
I imagine that announcement, I imagine it'll help with recruiting, but in terms of the current players, do you think it'll have any impact on them, just knowing that there's some clarity and stability to the program?
I mean, yes. I mean, absolutely. And I mean, like I said, I love coaching these guys, and all I can go off is the actions that they have. But this team plays hard for us, and they, we've got great relationships. We got like I said, a lot of young players that I believe have tremendous upsides in front of them, and for them to have a sense of the stability, to say that there's pressure around it of what's it going to be and what's it going to look like. I mean, yes, it's life. I mean, people they're not naive to everything that's of the worries of what could be or what might happen. But like I told them, the concerns of all things that are out there, man, just go be it this week, go do it this week. Have fun playing this game, have fun preparing, and let your best go show up. And I believe that if we do that, man, I'm definitely confident in what this team will accomplish and what they can accomplish now and for all things here in front of us.
Corey?
We all, excuse me, sorry, that was loud, everyone listening. We all found out.
You waited just till you got the
just till I got
microphone.
to the mic, I felt like that was the time to do it. It's awesome. We all found out yesterday afternoon that you would be returning. When did you find out? And what was that conversation like?
I mean, there's constant conversations with myself, the administration. They have a great presence around our program and understanding of what we're doing. To know that the decision's been made, the release is going out. I mean, that's is something that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for all the process leading up to that, but also my focus and concern has been trying to help pour into these players just for us to go be better. And we've seen positive response. Obviously, we weren't good enough Friday night, and what needed to be done, but, that's my focus, and it's gonna be my continued focus. I'm grateful for the announcement yesterday, excited about it, moving forward, with clarity for recruits, for our players, for our staff, for for everything that's there. And we still have a job to do, and it's about the job. It's about going to get the job done this week, to being the best that we've been throughout this season, and then we move to the next phase of it. And I know what I want that to be. Going to get a 6th win, that's the focus, and then you get to carry it to the next part of it. But I was grateful when I did get the call of that the release was going out, and that it was just the decision of timing. But I've been confident that if I keep my head down and just continue to work, even though it wasn't the result we wanted there, Friday night, that the opportunity would be there. And I'm not gonna let him down, and I mean that in the sense of it's just I believe in what it's gonna be, and I know what we have to continue to do, and we're gonna get it done.
Brendan.
With the punt returns, obviously it was unfortunate how that played into the game the other day. It seems like outside of a couple of years, it's been a recurring issue, maybe not to that extent, but hasn't been a source of consistency. I'm not sure if you agree with that, but so what kind of evaluation goes into? Is it a personnel thing? Is it a technique, coaching? Why?
Well, I mean, Squirrel's been, and I'll just say because he had the muff punt at the end of it, but he's been a good player for us back there this year, and being able to go, and I've been pleased with it. And even after the muff punt at the end, he came back out the next opportunity, was able to field it with people on him, but every one of them matter. He's had some big play capabilities. He's been able to track and go get the ball, even on short kicks. But the first punt, I mean, there's not a whole lot. Our guys did what we teach them to do. We pointed out, we're calling it out. Guys are reacting to it. It comes down, hits them in the head, bounces 25 yards back to the punter, who makes a great recovery of a ball that's on the ground. I'll continue to work on being better in that situation. I don't have much for that one, but we've seen some good, and we've seen some bad in our punt return game over the years collectively. We've had really good year. We had a Special Teams Player of the Year at that position, and then we've had years that coming off this last year was not good enough. This year we've had multiple 20+ yard returns. We've been able to make to be better here the back half of the season, but Friday night still happened, and that was a critical moment, a critical play. I was proud of Squirrel coming off of that and still coming out and fielding the next ball clean. But I've got belief in who he is and what he'll be able to do. And but we're always looking at each phase of what we do, special teams wise, offensively, defensively, of how we can enhance it, how it can be better. And we've seen it applied at a high level, and we've also seen where times it's cost us, and obviously it cost us there the other night.
Peter.
Couple questions here.
You can just say 2 for 1. I mean,
Two
it's
for
kind of,
one.
yeah, there you go.
It involves Florida. Thoughts this recent kind of having to face DJ Lagway. Is there something that you've seen differently compared to how he performed his freshman year to this year, and also facing a Florida team that doesn't really have that much more like a team that doesn't really have that much to lose? Does that make the game even tougher, knowing that how the season has gone for them?
Well, I mean, I think DJ is a extremely talented player, and I mean, he's had, there's challenges that show up. I mean, I know he had injury in the off season, and people, you just want to turn on the film, press play, and it always go exactly how you want it, how you want it to. But there's real life that happens, and when you miss an off season, you have some difficult situations, some of the pressures that jump onto to expectations and what you think it'll be and what it should look like, and all that contributes. But I mean, you see the arm talent, you see the size, the ability to extend plays. I mean, he's a dangerous player to have to go against, and he's a guy who can make every throw. But at the end of the day, we've got got to try to disrupt him, try to make him uncomfortable, you know, but, you know, we know the talent's there. And, you know, when it comes to their team, I mean, it's a very talented team. And, you know, it's a roster that's, you know, they've got good talent, they've got, you know, ability, they've got, you know, playmakers on both sides, you know, but for whatever reason, there's been times of, you know, things that we've seen where it just hasn't played complementary, you know, to each other, you know, and there's been some games that have gotten away from them, but there's definitely a talented team that we know we're going to get, you know, all that they have, and they're going to get every bit of what we have, and so it's going to be you know, it's going to be a hard fought matchup, and I'm looking forward to it either Saturday afternoon.
Chris?
Wanted to ask you about a trio of players. Cam Davis didn't make the trip to my knowledge. Kevin Wynn is planned to redshirt, and Javon Boggs just a scary situation at the end. How is he?
Yeah, so the first two, I mean, you know, those are a couple guys that were, you know, looking to keep at the 4 games. You know, with Kevin, you know, he does have the availability to play one more, so he could be you know, available to play in this game. You know, with you know, Kevin Wynn, I mean, you know, he missed the early part of the season, you know, due to injury, and it kind of got to that where, you know, it's only going to be a handful of plays. You know, I think we've seen, you know, some good emergence of guys in that defensive front, but you know, didn't want him just to play that fifth or sixth game without with it being a good workload. And so you know, I think he's still been practicing, you know, pushing, you know, doing everything he needs. Cam Davis, you know, is a guy that's another guy that I've seen some real improvement from you know, throughout this season. You know, I think he dealt with injury for, you know, the better part of it, and it just, you know, I didn't, kind of same situation with Kevin. Didn't want him to you know, just get thrown in there and not to maximize you know what I think the workload could be. And so but he's done a good job for us, and excited about you know, what's ahead for him. With Boggs, I mean, that was a scary situation there, you know, after the game, and you know, I mean, you know, he played an extensive amount. You know, that was a you know, I guess tension-filled moment, and you know, you see a guy go down, and you know, just to be able to be there, you know, our medical team, you know, the NC State medical, you know, group, you know, they were all did a wonderful job of being there on point, and you know, thankfully, you know, it was nothing that extended, you know, really beyond, and you know, Jamin was able to you know, be able to get himself there to the locker room. You know, all of his status and vitals were in good shape. He traveled back with the team, and you know, was ready to go. You know, here yesterday as we've continued to monitor him, and so just definitely grateful for that.
Bob?
Coach, curious with Tommy Castellanos in particular, I don't know to call it a waiver or an appeal or whatnot. Have you heard back on his status for next season? And if not, or what are your thoughts about the development plan of maybe pushing him if he were to come back next year? What do you think you might be able to get out of him?
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously that's all things that are in process, and we'll see where that goes. I mean, our focus is for this week, you know, on you're going to play the best game that we can play, and you know, I know that Tommy, I mean, he invests a lot, and you know, his potential and future growth, you in this game, I do believe is a you know, he's got a high ceiling, and you know, he just, you know, his work ethic and his, you know, the determination which he brings, you know, it gives me a lot of confidence for what he can be, and you know, whether it's you know, if he does get another year, or you know, if not, I mean, I know he's going to work to go maximize the opportunity he has playing this game, and you know, definitely appreciate his work ethic.
We got time for 2 more, Corey.
That's like,
crazy.
I mean, this, hey, just, you know, like, you ask questions, that's what you do. So before you get the
I
microphone,
gotta
you
get
probably
ready, I
want-
gotta get myself prepared. So when you look back at this season, you know, you could make an argument that out of the 6 losses, 4 of them came down to 1 or 2 or 3 plays. And if they go a different way, you win those games. By the same token, those games came down to 1, 2, or 3 plays. At the end of the day, when it's all stripped away, is it just about getting better players? that where it doesn't come down to 1 or 2 or 3 plays? I know that's always a coach's goal, but is the roster talented enough to go compete at a championship level?
I believe that we have the talent to do that. I do believe that talented players, you know, and how do you say that? How do you evaluate that? I mean, you look at the potential of plays, and then, you know, there's, you know, capable of really elite, you know, and then we've also, you know, given other teams opportunities, and, you know, you've got to show up, and you got to be consistent in play. You got to make sure that, you know, you play, you know, off of and well together, you know, as a team. But I think that this roster where it is, it's going to continue to grow and get better. And when you look at the skill positions, you look at, you know, obviously we know some areas that we're going to have to, you know, continue to push in, you know, in enhancing the roster. And we have some positions that, you know, are probably not as good as what we need it to be. And, you know, we're going to continue to see the guys that are there elevate and grow. And, you know, some guys are freshmen that are playing those positions, and it gets me so excited about what's ahead. But right now it's, you know, you got to see that continued growth. But, you know, I absolutely believe that the talent on this team is good. I mean, I think it is, you know, we're very, very close. And you can look through the season, and, you know, not a game that I just came out of, I was like, oh my God, we're so overmatched in that game. And we played some talented teams, and, you know, but I think we've done a good job of being able to identify guys that could come in and could play at an elite level. We've just not done a good enough job of consistently and complementary football showing up, you know, week in and week out. And when you come down and you look back and you see, you know, 4 games that pick a play, in any of those games it's a different result, but the results still count. Like, you still have to make it. You still, you know, and I can sit there and you look at a bunch of those games and say, well, if they would have seen it this way, or if it would have gone that way, or the ball would have bounced differently, then, you know, but we are where we are. Our record is what it is, and, you know, but I do believe in the people that we have that are out there playing, and I believe in their capability. Now, do we all have to grow and get better? Yes. Like, do we have to evaluate all things? Yes, for sure, because the results are the results. But when it comes to, like, you know, the talent on this team, I think we've got really, really good talent. And yeah, I know, you know, some guys might not have, you know, garnered as much, you know, recognition when they came to Florida State, you know, but, you know, we got some guys that are playing as true freshmen right now that, you know, for whatever they were or perceived, I mean, they're showing that they're going to be some of the best players in college football here in the next few years. And, you know, you see the emergence of guys like Mekhi Danzy that, you know, yeah, we're excited for a guy that can run fast, but I mean, you're seeing a real football player that's emerging, and, you know, he's not a finished product. He's still got so much areas to grow. You know, the Sear brothers, you know, obviously, I mean, those 2 guys they're producing, and you're seeing the confidence of them continuing to grow. But, you know, we've played a lot of true freshmen. We played a lot of young players on our roster. But, you know, I believe in the talent of it, and, you know, we're going to continue to get better.
Last one, Ira.
You talked about the play with the ball hits KJ, obviously, just a ridiculous set of circumstances. You guys have had some tough breaks, but then you also, in that game, you know, have to call a timeout because of personnel and too many men on the field and things like that. How frustrating is it for that to happen at this point in the season, and how do you address it? You have one more chance to kind of get all that stuff right.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the course of the year, that was we had 2 times we had to call a timeout because of either a personnel or communication issue that, you know, offensively. They were both in that game. And the 12 men on the field, like that was down to the goal line. Player didn't see the signal. We're yelling, and, you know, it's all, you know, but it's not something that we've lived in. For that to show up late in the year, you know, it goes back to, you know, whatever is around, whatever's going on, the circumstance of it, you know, that's where you gotta take a deep breath, stick with the true fundamentals of communication, getting your eyes where they need to be, and then going and executing whatever it is that's being asked of you. And there are frustrations in that, but, you know, this is not a team that has lived in it. you know, and you said, and I, you know, told the guys, you know, we talk about focus penalties or penalties that things that we can control. What you mentioned, you know, focus penalties, you know, timeouts like that. Those are focus issues where it might be a coach, it might be a player. We're all of it in it together. In the games that we've won, right, we've averaged 1 focus penalty per game. Games that we've lost, it's been 4, right? We had essentially 4 players, 1 on coaches there the other day. Like, and so you're sitting there like, you paint the picture of what, and now, you know, those are all, you know, all things that are controllable factors, and it's, you know, for wherever you allow wherever you allow yourself to go in those moments, whether it's just, you know, trying so hard that, you know, you lock up, you freeze, you get excited, you move a little early, or there's just a, you know, with all the right intentions, don't get started the right way. I mean, those are things that we can't control, and we have to be better at controlling that. And it's where the, you know, the emotional growth and emotional maturity that gets to show up, you know, sometimes with, you know, young players. You know, I think we can build upon that, but it is absolutely frustrating that it shows up in week 11, you know, on the road in a critical moment. You know, we have to get that fixed. And if it, you know, going into this week, it's a huge priority focus, you know, as it has been. And you know, the thing that I know is I know our team's capable, because I've seen us, you know, go and play clean football. I've seen us go and, you know, even with the pressures of having to win and doing this and doing that, like, I've seen us be able to execute and play at a high level. And this week we just got to go do it.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.